Good morning, dear ones, and welcome to Unity Church. A very special welcome to those of you who are visiting with us today. This morning we tune in from our singular rooms to join together in worship. Welcome to this time we set aside each week to help us find and keep our balance, to think about those things that matter most, to root out racism in ourselves and in the world, and to align our lives to integrity, service, and joy. Here in the sanctuary, your worship leaders gather, taking appropriate precautions, learning as we lead to offer clarity, comfort, and inspiration in these trying times. We know that nothing can replace the face-to-face, hand-in-hand, voices raised in song, embodied worship brings. We also know that the ministry we share has never been about a building. This church is not closed. After the service, whether this is your first time with us or your 101st time, you're invited to participate in a virtual Zoom coffee hour where we share a bit of our lives with each other and get to know one another more deeply. Stay for a few minutes just to say hi, or stay for up to 45 minutes to connect in smaller breakout rooms. Information about how to participate is available on Unity's homepage, and the link to coffee hour will be shared at the end of this service. If you'd like to learn more about Unity Church and about Unitarian Universalism, we invite you to participate in Finding Yourself at Unity today at 1 p.m. The topic of today's 1-hour online offering is Unitarian Universalist history. Information is on our homepage, or email lisa@unityunitarian.org to get connected to the class. Next Sunday, during a service titled Blessing from Crossed Hands, the Reverend K.P. Hong will explore blessing as awakening in the bearer the presence of the holy, and how blessing can be as surprising and disturbing as it is reassuring. In the coming days and weeks, we will continue to find new ways to come together for worship, for learning, for deep connection, for justice, and for love. Welcome, and stay tuned.
Each one of us has one thing in common. We are each someone's child. What I know is that when holding a new life, a sense of the miraculous enters in. The clouds of glory sweep into the room. Here in your arms, covered with a protective coat of vernex, is a human being. A blessed life. No greater love can exist. To love like this, with your heart aching, is to be changed forever. What I hope and pray for each one of you is that at least once, if not more frequently than that, someone looked at you and beheld you as the blessing you are and are meant to be. The role of every religious community is to remind us over and over again of this original blessing. You We all came into this world blessed. Simply to be alive is a blessing. May we pass on this blessing by seeing life through the eyes of this kind of transformative love. Come, let us worship together.
And friends, will you stay standing and read with me in unison, mindful of truth? Mindful of truth, ever exceeding our knowledge, and community, ever exceeding our practice, reverently we covenant together, beginning with ourselves as we are, to share the strength of integrity and the heritage of the Spirit in the unending quest for wisdom and love. Let us now take a moment to settle into this place, wherever this place may be for you. A time for silence, a time for breath, a time for arriving completely into this moment.
Each time we gather for worship, we set aside a moment to expand the caring ministry of this congregation. Together we recognize the cycle of life and death, the circle of love, compassion, and witness that is at the center of this and of every sacred community. We stand at the side of parents and teachers and all those whose primary spiritual practice is caring for children, with those who live with grief or chronic pain, with illnesses seen and unseen, with mental disability or addiction. We pray for our neighbors in prison, for those who care for family members in ill health, and those who are struggling to stay afloat in the midst of poverty. Our lives are blessed by those who knowingly and with curiosity and courage face their final days, and by those who rise above heartbreak to challenge oppression in all of its forms. We pray for those in harm's way, for the wisdom and strength of the leaders of the world, and for the people of this courageous congregation, as together we live into our longing to embody and help to build the beloved community. Will you pray with me for all these we now name? We hold Joan Riedel, beloved sister of Beth Peterson, in our thoughts and prayers. Joan has entered into hospice care with pancreatic cancer. After surgery, various treatment modalities, she is no longer receiving chemo. She is surrounded in the loving care of her family, including her husband of 48 years, her daughter, son-in-law, and precious 8-year-old granddaughter. We are thrilled to announce that Joe Mueller has just been named as the head of Friends School of Minnesota. We know that this community will find itself richly blessed by his vision and passion for a just, equitable, educating community. And we celebrate the changing roles of fathering that we have witnessed in our lifetime. May every father feel encouraged into the fullness of the parenting relationship. And we continue to hold all those people stepping up to help one another, those who risk infection, providing for essential needs, for speaking out for justice, and those inspired to lend a helping hand to those in need. May we stand in compassionate solidarity with our neighbors here at home and all around the world. May they and may we be instruments of a just and lasting peace. I now invite you to speak aloud or hold in the silent sanctuary of your hearts the names of those you would like to lift today in worship. And let us pray. Spirit of life, Spirit of mystery and love, God of many names and beyond all naming, God of our being and our becoming. Be with us in these days of uprising, of struggle, of naming truth, of living into complexity, the complexity that is our lives, where pain and struggle reside in the same life as joy and freedom. Let us remember that human joy is the ultimate expression of freedom. No one can take away our love, our joy, our integrity. These are essential. These are the bread of life. And may we be sustained by this, our feast of love and joy, freedom and justice. May it be so, and amen.
Spirit of life, come. My son, Atticus, got his driver's license on Monday, and he has been out in my car by himself every day since then. And I'm asking myself, how did this happen? How did this little guy get to be taller than me, smarter than me, and almost ready to leave the house? Now, if you are a 7 or 17-year-old anywhere in there, you have no doubt had an adult come before you and say, I remember when you were this small. How did you get so big? And you as that kid are thinking, what are they talking about? It's taking forever for me to grow up. I can't wait, and it's so far away. Well, I have a story to tell you about a Unity kid who did do just that, grew up overnight. So if you are young and you want to come forward to your screen a little bit, I'm going to tell you this story, and I have some pictures. So kids in the audience, you know what I'm talking about, this feeling of parenthood or adulthood being way off in the distance. You can't wait for it, right? You can't wait to do adult stuff, to not just have to do what your parents are saying all the time. And it seems so far away. It's like you're standing on the Grand Canyon, on the edge, and you've got this huge gorge between you. How am I ever going to get there? It's so deep, the water's so fast, the river's so wide. You know what you need at a time like this? A bridge. So I want you to remember that idea of bridge, okay? We'll come back to it. So where were we? Oh yes, a story about a kid. Got some pictures. So this Unity kid, their name is Sam. And I remember Sam as a little guy having just come out of Spirit Play, which is like the kindergarten of Sunday school. And he and his sister came over to my house to play with my kids on a play date. And at one point, my wife and I, Betsy, said, hey kids, we need you to be real good for just a minute or two. We're going to go over to our neighbor's house, so we need you to just be responsible and stay safe. Sam stood up, looked around, and said, you know, I'm the oldest one here. I can be responsible. I'll keep us all safe. And just like that, before our eyes, he grew 2 feet tall. It was amazing. But you know, this story actually is about Tess. Tess is a Unity kid. Tess was a kid that was involved in everything at Unity. Hand up all the time, running around, very competitive. Wanted to win everything. Kind of annoying, actually. But I remember this kid, one day, sitting with a group of high school kids and saying, very thoughtfully, I wonder what I need to be when I grow up. I wonder what the purpose of this life is. And our mouths dropped open, and we saw this mature adult asking the big questions. You know, really, maybe this story is about Aurora. Aurora, as I remember Aurora, was this little kid, kind of maybe struggling to get out of the shadows of a big sister. Until one day, a lot of us here saw this, one day Aurora transformed into an amazing horse. Yes, it was right here during the children's musical. She turned into this amazing, wisecracking, hilarious horse, and we have never been able to forget about that kid since then and not hear her voice. Or, you know, really this is about Ben. You know, Ben I remember honestly as being something of a sarcastic imp as an adolescent. And as a matter of fact, I remember him on the evening of an Our Whole Lives overnight when he was sitting with his friends, and they were just doing their casual talking when Ben put out this really, really good cutting insult to one of his classmates. It was pretty funny, but it might have gone a little too far. And I remember just giving him the barest glance, and he looked at his classmate and he said, you know what? I'm sorry. That was not really a very good thing to say. And right there, Shazam, an adult sitting before me. Amazing. Oh, another amazing Unity kid, Melissa. I remember Melissa being involved in everything around here, always wanting to be part of things. And then she was possibly typecast in the children's musical as the mayor. A lot of us saw this, right? She was the mayor that spoke in a gobbledygook that no one could understand, but it was very funny, and she was a take charge type. Well, that's That's the person she's grown into. A take-charge young woman. As a matter of fact, she helped organize a women's retreat here last year. Amazing. Isaac, let me be honest with you, kind of a Dickens. You know what I mean, Dickens? Have you heard that term? Isaac was one of those kids that was always kind of quiet around, being squirrely, always with the good joke. You could tell it was always funny. Something was funny. A lot of you saw this, though. It happened one day. Isaac walked right up there during coming of age to give his coming of age statement. And honestly, he went up there with the intention of just telling a big joke. And he told his joke, and he got a little chuckle, and we all saw it. Suddenly, it came over him that some things are serious, and sometimes you have something to say. And he said it. He grew up right there in front of our eyes. Another, Tori. Okay, Tori, honestly, how I remember Tori first is as this little kid literally hiding between the legs of her mother, looking like she wanted to be anywhere but here and fade away. But I remember her in coming of age when I made a little wisecrack to her, and I said, Tori's mute. She has nothing to say. And that brow furrowed and those eyes narrowed, and she looked at me and said, you know, I have a voice, and I can talk. And she did, from there on, use that voice and talk. Okay, you're understanding now that I'm not just talking about one Unity kid, right? I'm talking about a class, a whole class of seniors who just graduated from high school. But they did all do this amazing thing. I know it feels this way to a lot of us adults, that they amazingly were just that tall, and overnight, they grew up. Like Wyatt. I remember Wyatt from Chalice Camp following me around and relentlessly repeating this joke about, was my name Drew or Mr. Drew or Mr. D or Daru or the D-Man? And this went on and it went on and on. And then he went on to consider, what did they want to be called? What did they want to be and be? What was their identity? Until now, they proclaim themselves Lucy, which is their adult identity and name. Amazing. Justin. You know Justin? You know the word gangly? Sorry, Justin, but the definition of gangly, all arms and legs, sharp edges and joints, trying to maneuver them around. Wait till you see Justin now. Justin is a grown man, and he is quiet, soft-spoken, and wise, and gentle, and loving. Amazing. Ellie. Ellie was actually the main competitor for that test kid, always going for number one. Ellie, so wise beyond her years, I recall her standing with her class by a statue in Concord, Massachusetts on the Boston pilgrimage. And she was challenging us. She asked us, who are our heroes? Can we have heroes? What will we look up to? Who will inspire us to become the people we want to be? Amazing. And you know, when I think about it, we were standing on a bridge. Do you remember I was talking about bridges? Bridges. Like the bridge that another young Unity person was telling me about, that just last week, Zach was standing on the bridge, 35W, with protesters demonstrating the killing of George Floyd. Standing up for ideals. Amazing how these little kids have come to this. And so the bridge. It is Bridging Sunday here, where we are recognizing that all of these Unity youth have crossed this bridge. They have stepped onto it, and they are now at an adulthood, and they are preparing, we must admit, to leave. And that makes us feel all sorts of ways, right? We are so proud of them. We are so happy that they have done it. We are so also wanting to grab on and make sure they're safe and maybe don't leave and come back. We have to ask, where did that bridge come from? How did they find a bridge to cross over from those little kids to where they are now? Who built it? Well, certainly they built it. Certainly they took step by step, cautiously at first, with all different levels of confidence, and they stepped across. But they didn't do it alone. Lots of people, lots of work, lots of effort, and certainly Unity Church. Certainly the people of Unity, certainly their Unitarian Universalist values were there as a support structure on that bridge. And I hope they know that they're not really ready to step off that bridge, right? Because they have a lot further to go. And they need to know that we're still here, that the bridge is still here. And we hope that they'll cross back over now and then and see us. But they can be secure that that bridge holds them into their future. And so now I would like to give you the 2020 Unity Senior Bridging class.
Challenge yourself at Tower Club. It's one of the best spaces to do it. Especially when everyone else is doing it. It can be really amazing when that happens. A unity moment for me. I think one of the most unity things that ever happened to me was a single conversation I had with Ray. Basically allowed me to answer the death and dying question and process the death and dying question for myself. Everyone in Tower Club, you're awesome. You guys, as much as you may not know it, you really shaped a large part of who I am. I have a lot of thanking to do. As I leave, I really don't think I am leaving. I feel like I just don't feel like I'm leaving just because I feel I'm taking so much with me. And so, as much as it's goodbye, it's thank you, and I can't wait to see everyone again. I love you all so, so much.
Some of my favorite memories are being in children's choir, as well as going to religious education and looking forward to it so much every Sunday. Of course, the children's musical, the amazing community I formed there, all the friends I made, many of which I still know now and hold very special places in my heart. And of course, going to the nursery every Sunday from sophomore year until now. I really love my coworkers, and I love being able to interact with so many cute, adorable toddlers and watch them grow up. Two things from Unity that I will take with me are reflection and community. Thank you, Unity.
Hello, Unity friends. One of my favorite memories was visiting old churches while I was in Boston with Tower Club. Unity has given me a sense that no matter where I go, this community will always be here for me.
Hi Unity, I'm Sam Hallmarker. Mom is Louise Livesay, stepdad is Mark All, and sister is Lily. I have grown up at Unity and done everything that kids do here. RE, musical for 4 years, Child's Camp, Wellspring Wednesday, OWL, COA, worked in the nursery, went to Boston, some Tower Club, and Unistar. I have celebrated my mom's wedding to Mark and my grandma's memorial service here. My favorite Unity memory is a trip to Boston and building deeper connections with my classmates and Tower Club leaders. I leave knowing that I will always be welcome and a loving community is waiting for me when I come back or need a shoulder for support. I learned that a beloved community is made by the connections made with people and not about a specific place. Thank you.
Hi, Unity. One of the greatest things about Unity is its community. I remember we were in Boston, and it was one of the experiences in my life that I still cherish dearly to this day. Everyone is so kind and welcoming and supportive. It's truly a wonderful place to be. Even if you're not a necessarily religious person, it's nice to just come here for the community. Leaving Tower Club and going into the world bringing my knowledge from Unity, I bring what they taught me, which is a sense of comfort and support and care for everyone.
Hi Unity and my fellow seniors and Tower Club members. Okay, so for this question, I'm gonna switch it into what does Unity bring out of me? And for that, I would say a deeper understanding of myself and others, as well as my spirituality. One of my many favorite Unity memories is going to Boston last year.
Hi, hello Unity. My name is Ben Schneider and I'm a senior. I will be studying at Pomona College in Claremont, California. My favorite Unity memory is singing under Dale Warland that 1 foot Sunday. I believe it was freshman or sophomore year. My one accomplishment is Unity Choir, all that joining Unity Choir stuff. Shout out to Ahmed, shout out to Unity Choir basses.
I think I'll bring with me all of the friends and the members of the community who have made my time at Unity so great. And then probably also donuts on Sundays. Yeah, definitely donuts.
Hey guys, I'm Isaac, I'm a senior, and this is probably your first time hearing from me for a while. I remember the first musical, like 16 of us, and that was about the first time that I had ever really felt like I was part of a community at Unity. That was really nice. I don't think any of us are going to forget Owl anytime soon. I remember getting to the COA retreat. That was the night that my soccer team won our homecoming game. So that was a good day. And I remember being mortified when I got to the end of my credo, which I had finished probably at about 2 that morning. That was not a good day. And I remember Sev piercing his ear that night in Boston. About half the group standing around, most of them shuddering. That was pretty funny. That was a good time. So this probably isn't a direct answer to what do I bring from Unity, but it's about as close as I can figure. I have a community that I may not be active in, but one that will be there for me if I need it, as I am sure it will be there for all of you if you need it.
I am super thankful for my 4 years doing the children's musicals. I am also very thankful for my time doing Chalice Camp. Whether I was a counselor, a camper, a CIT, a junior counselor, I've loved every minute of the past 12 years, and I have gained some amazing tie-dye t-shirts from it, which I will never throw away. So I am also very thankful, and probably most thankful, for the friendships I have made at Unity. I first met some of my closest friends in the Unity Children's Choir in first grade, and I have held a consistent bond with many of them through 12th grade. So I am very thankful for getting to know some of my closest friends through Unity, and thank you to the adults that I have grown super close to. I know that I can always come to you when I need a mature and responsible but open ear. So thank you. I think I bring a sense of hope into most situations because of my time at Unity and the need to find the positive things that are going on, even in the midst of crazy and dark times. I think I also bring a need for reflection and thought surrounding spirituality, but also just the events that are going on in my life. Thank you, and goodbye, Unity.
We have cleared off the table, the leftovers saved, washed the dishes and put them away. I have told you a story and tucked you in tight at the end of your knockabout day, when the moon sets its sail to carry you to sleep over a midnight sea. I will sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company. You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know we will love you still. You can live by yourself, you can gather friends around, you can choose one special one, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. There are girls who grow up strong and bold. There are boys quiet and kind. Some race on ahead, some follow behind. You will grow in your own way and time. Some women love women, some men love men, some raise children, some never do. You can dream of the day, never reaching the end of everything possible for you. Be rattled by names, by taunts, by games, just seek out spirits true. When you give your friends the best part of yourself, they will give the same back to you. You can be anybody you want to be. You can love travel any country where your heart leads, and know we will love you still. You can live by yourself, you can gather friends around, you can choose one special one, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. And the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. Though our ministry is now largely online, the church's financial obligations do continue. Your support of the church is an expression of the promises we make to each other, to our children, and to the world. We know that some of you have had your hours reduced and that some have been furloughed or even lost your jobs. Please let us know if you're facing financial difficulty. We can help. But don't let fear undermine your commitment to the ministry we share. Please do your best to be generous with the church so that the church can, in turn, maintain our staff and programs and keep our promises to the many community partners our Sunday offerings support. Today, the larger portion of our offering will support St. Paul Freedom School, a St. Paul Public Schools summer enrichment program with primary outreach to students of color. In summers past, many Unity Church members have generously served the more than 700 students who participate each year. This offering will support Freedom School's shift to online distance learning. During the offering interlude, please visit Unity's homepage and follow the link in the Sunday service section to make your donation. You can also use the Give function located in our Shelby Next membership app and online database, or mail a check to the church. Thank you for your generous support of Unity Church.
Sisters of mercy.
Marilynne Robinson's lyrical novel, Gilead, is told in the form of recollections of a man in his mid-70s who, like his father and grandfather before him, has served for many years as pastor of a small congregation in the town of Gilead, Iowa. He's writing his memoir for the benefit of his 7-year-old son, who is soon to lose his father to old age. We were very pious children, from pious household and a fairly pious town, and this affected our behavior considerably. Once, we baptized a litter of cats. They were dusty little barn cats, just steady on their legs, the kind of waifish creatures that live their anonymous lives, keeping the mice down and have no interest in human beings at all, except to avoid them. But the animals all seemed to start out sociable, so we were always pleased to find new kittens prowling out of whatever cranny their mother had tried to hide them in, as ready to play as we were. It occurred to one of the girls to swaddle them in a doll's dress. There was only one dress, which was just as well since the cats could hardly tolerate a moment in it, and it would have been too unswaddled as they were christened in any case. I myself moistened their brows, repeating the full Trinitarian formula. I still remember how those little brows felt under the palm of my hand. Everyone has petted a cat, but to touch one like that, with the pure intention of blessing it, is a very different thing. It stays in the mind. For years, we would wonder what, from a cosmic viewpoint, we had done to them. It still seems to me to be a real question. There is a reality in blessing, which I take baptism to be primarily. It doesn't enhance sacredness, but acknowledges it, and there is power in that. I have felt it pass through me, so to speak. The sensation is of really knowing a creature. I mean, really feeling its mysterious life and your own mysterious life at the same time. I don't wish to be urging ministry on you, but there are some advantages to it you do not take for account if I did not point them out. Not that you have to be a minister to confer blessing. You are simply much more likely to find yourself in that position. It's a thing people expect of you.
And this from the marvelous Lucille Clifton. Blessing the boats at St. Mary's. May the tide that is entering even now the lip of our understanding carry you out beyond the face of fear. May you kiss the wind, then turn from it, certain that it will love you back. May you open your eyes to water, waving forever. And may you, in your innocence, sail through this to that. For years, we will wonder what, from a cosmic point of view, we have done to them. Though Marilynne Robinson poses the question in reflecting on the baptism of those dusty little kittens, we know she's wondering about what exactly happens when a blessing is conferred. Today, as we recognize the many ways our lives are blessed by those grown up among us who, whether they graduate or not, whether they stay or move on, have come to a threshold we call bridging. Now home is neither here nor there, and life just seems suspended like a bridge. Fred Small's stirring lullaby, Anything, Everything Possible, tells them they can be anybody they want to be, which is a very American thing to say and largely false. Nothing personal, Fred. It scans beautifully, and it works really well with you can love whomever you will, which is true. But you can't be anybody you want to be. There is, however, a blessing in being seen, in having your gifts revealed to you through the eyes of another. As you come to recognize and exercise your particular gifts, may you remember us with kindness and maybe even a little gratitude. We've tried to see you in that deeper way we know as blessing. A poem by Marge Piercy comes to mind. Bridging, it's called. Bridging. Being together is knowing, even if what we know is that we cannot really be together, caught in the teeth of the machinery of our lives, of the wrong moments of our lives. A clear umbilicus goes out invisibly between. Thread we spin, fluid and finer than hair, but strong enough to hang a bridge on. That bridge will be there. A black light rainbow arching out of your skull whenever you need, whenever you can open your eyes and want to walk upon it. Nobody can live on a bridge or plant potatoes, but it is fine for comings and goings, meetings, partings, and long views, and a real connection to someplace else where you may, in the crazy weathers of struggle, now and again, want to be. What, from a cosmic point of view, have we done to you? What has been the substance and intention of our blessing? When I think of what I want for you, it is much the same as what I want for everyone, including myself. I want for you, in Raymond Carver's words, to know yourself beloved on the earth. Our blessing does not enhance your sacredness, but it does acknowledge it, and there is power in that. Power that sustains, power that inspires, power you can use when the crazy weathers of struggle call you out into the streets. Our friend and colleague, Pastor Danny Givens, tells a story that lends confidence when I begin to doubt the worth of the church in our lives. Following the killing of Jamar Clark on November 15th of 2015, say his name, Jamar Clark. The tide of outrage carried us out beyond the face of fear. We were desperate to confront and end police brutality. Then, as now, we let hope have its way with us. We thought that by showing up, we just might make a difference. We just might tip the balance toward new possibilities, new ways of being. One night during the occupation outside the 4th Precinct, when all the old white liberals had gone home to bed, the mood got ugly there along the chain link fence that ran between the protesters and the police. Shots were fired. Tear gas was deployed. Pastor Danny, concerned for the safety of a small group of Unity youth he had seen earlier that evening, made his way toward the heart of the action. There, clinging to the fence in the smoke and darkness and confusion, were 4 boys from the Tower Club. They were not afraid. They were doing what they thought they had to do. They were living out your blessing. Pastor Danny got them off the fence that night. He got a hold of our daughter Hannah, who was one of their most trustworthy advisors, she told him to get them to the church. KP and Drew and Hannah met them here at midnight, and together they took a long, hard look at bravery and martyrdom and courage and compassion and the limits the long haul always will require. All the ways your blessings flow. Their unwillingness to leave the fence that night was an expression of the blessings they had known. They knew deep in their bones that the fact that they felt themselves beloved on the earth was both a blessing and a call. Once practice and intimacy have broken us open, compassion rises from the wound. The call those 4 boys heard that night 5 years ago is echoed in this very moment as the smoke clears and we recognize the rising tide that runs beneath the bridge we walk on. I hesitate to say that I take hope in the virtues and values of the children of the church. I don't think we should burden them with such high expectations, and we still have our work to do. They are children, after all. At least they were when we first knew them. They have their insecurities and foibles, as do we all. But there is some essential goodness there as well. There are virtues and values we helped to awaken and instill that will, I'm sure of it, serve the world well. What I want them to know, what I want us all to know, is that this bridge, this church, is fine for comings and goings, meetings, partings, and long views, and a real connection to someplace else where you may, in the crazy weathers of struggle, now and again want to be, even and especially right now, right here, in this very moment. May it be so, and amen. And so, dear ones, recognize that blessing is seeing and being seen. My prayer for you is that you recall with gratitude a moment you were seen, that your particular gifts were recognized, encouraged, and nurtured, that the world might know you and be blessed. May it be so, and amen.